Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Treythan here.
Taylor here.
And wow, this is a fucking Christmas miracle. This is like 2 days after Christmas, but we actually have more than one person around. Holy crap. Round of applause for StraightA for getting shit together. Heck yeah. Uh, no, but of course, everybody's been seeing family and stuff. So finally, some of us were able to gather around as a family of our own to predict these Week 17 matchups. And man, we came back at a good time because there's some implications here for these next 2 weeks that are going to be some juicy standings here for these AFC wild cards and these two spots in the NFC. So I'm kind of curious what's y'all's opinion on this. But I will say we have to give a great straight A congratulations to one of our members here today for his recent engagement. Taylor has recently just gotten engaged. And to a very wonderful person that I know very well. Treythan's met her. Congratulations, Taylor. Want to make sure we made that public and say, hey, a formal congratulations to you. But how you guys feeling? I know it's been a minute. Y'all have anything kind of say to the audience since you've been gone?
Oh, well, my Titans are still bad.
Yeah.
The Chiefs don't look great. I'm not expecting a deep playoff run. On the contrary, the Ravens and the Lions are looking pretty good. So, I would love to see the Lions make a deep run in the playoff. That is my dream. Now that the Titans suck.
How about we just see them in the Super Bowl? I think that's just the great middle ground there.
That would be Lions Dolphins Super Bowl would be my favorite Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah.
70-73 final score.
Yeah.
I'm honestly at this point hoping the Titans will lose out and get a top 5 pick and either take Joe Alt from Notre Dame or the tackle from Penn State. Or hell, I'll even take the tackle from Bama.
I completely agree.
All right.
Because I don't know, that it's going to be a rough offseason for the Titans. They've got a lot to do.
How long is D-Hop signed with us? Is he another year?
Yeah, I think he has another year on his contract.
Actually, Derrick Henry's a free agent this next offseason. I forgot about that.
I think these last 2 games are going to be his last 2 games as a Titan.
I think so.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Goes to the
He's
Cowboys.
not dead. Don't say that.
Don't ever say that.
Calling it now.
Okay,
all right.
Imagine how back to prime form Derrick Henry would be if he went to somewhere like the Eagles. I know he wouldn't go to the Niners, but just imagine he goes to the team that has an absolutely dominant offensive line. How ridiculous that would be.
It could be something. I feel like the Eagles are too I guess Derrick Henry's a good pass catcher too. Don't see him. I don't know him as that, I guess. But they're very pass heavy in terms of their screens and stuff like that.
They are.
So you have to have somebody that's kind of shifty. I don't know if they're a bulldozer.
If he goes to the Ravens, they run a lot.
That's true. And they don't have a bad offensive line.
Nope.
Not at all, actually. Dang. Well, that'll probably be a video for the offseason for us to talk about. Anyway, beside the point, we have a standings to get to, too. On screen now will be all the standings currently in place. Betting line, 158 wins, 82 losses. Tom Grossi, second place, 151 wins, 89 losses. Ryan Schudeman is our first place of our group, 150 wins to 90 losses. He had a dominant week compared to the second place person, myself, at 148 wins and 92 losses. But then we have a nice little gap between me and Kevin Walsh, who has now felt so bad. Had the worst week, I think, in our predictions history with 6-10 and fell down to 145 and 95. Wyatt's World is one win behind him at 144 and 96. Then we have Treythan in 7th place total, 3rd place of our group at 142 wins and 98 losses. Just had some mid-weeks. You haven't had a great week or a bad week in a while.
No, starting off, I was the most consistent. I was always at 11 wins. And then as soon as we got to the middle of the season, I've taken a nosedive. And now I'm starting to get 9 wins consistently. I haven't had a 12-win week in a while, so I've kind of fallen off.
And Treythan, it's so bad. Ben is right behind you at 8th place with 140 wins and 100 losses, making our first triple-digit loss category. And then TPS is only 1 win behind him at 139 and 101. So there is a big fight for that last place spot right there. If you're wondering where Taylor is, he's actually slightly at 0.1% ahead of TPS. So he is technically in right between Ben and TPS right now.
Oh,
So the race is real, and Braden is somewhere around second and third. I forgot exactly where I put him, but he's somewhere there. Either way, though,
ooh.
we have 16 more. We have 32 more games in this regular season till for the last of this matchups. I don't know if we'll count the records going to the playoffs. We'll talk about that, but at the very least, it'll be at the end of the regular season. So let's get into the first one. I'll start, then Treythan and Taylor, and we'll go from there. We have the New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns, and I feel like this is one of the easiest matchups this week, one of the less interesting ones. I think Joe Flacco has killed it for the Browns. Browns defense is okay, but it's been a little bit less good than it has been in the past. But I still think they're great. Easy win for the Browns here at home.
I agree. I think it's a good win for the Browns, but I think this will be probably Joe Flacco's toughest test, at least of this season, as far as the Jets secondary goes. Now I know they've kind of hit a rough patch, but I still think that's a very good secondary. So it'll be a big test for Joe Flacco regarding possible playoff implications.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna agree with y'all. I'm gonna go Browns, and y'all are talking about a test for Joe Flacco. I think this is gonna be a test for either Zach Wilson. I believe he's getting the start this week, right?
Who knows?
I might be completely wrong.
Trevor Siemian started this last week, so I don't even know who the starter
Okay.
is right now. Maybe Aaron Rodgers. They just activated him officially. So
And, you know what?
That's
Just take back what I said. Browns. So I don't know. There's so many starting quarterbacks that have gotten hurt or gotten kicked from the starter spot, and it's just too much.
Adding a new one this week. It's like collecting Infinity Stones
Yeah.
honestly, they
with
might.
with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he'll be next.
Oh god, that's a really odd situation. I don't know why they did that.
I think Russell Wilson's time as a Bronco is almost up.
Hello, darkness, my old
Well, anyway,
friend.
the Lions and Cowboys. Treythan, you want to take us up on that one before I cry?
Now this is a big game. This is I think it'll be a fantastic game. Probably one of the better ones of the week. With that being said, I think I'm gonna have to give the edge to the Lions here. I really like the Lions. I know around the Thanksgiving time they had 2 weeks that were like really close with the Bears and then the Packers. They got beat by the Packers, but since then they've really turned on the Jets, and I think they looked really good. And so I think I'm going to give this one to the Lions. I think this will be their first, big game near playoffs against a guaranteed playoff team. So I think it'll be a good test to prepare them for the playoffs.
I'm gonna have to agree on the Lions. I mean, the Cowboys, they struggled against the Bills terribly. I don't know what was going on in that game, and part of me does not completely believe that they should even be a playoff team. They just seem so on and off again, and you just never know when that switch is gonna flip on and they're gonna play. So I'm gonna have to go Lions on this one.
Oh, fair enough. I like the reasonings behind all of that. With that said, I'm actually picking the Cowboys here. I think that those are very reasonable points. I'm not gonna say that the Cowboys have been on fire. They definitely have lost 2 key games or 2 weeks in a row. They're pretty key games they needed to win. I don't think there's going to be a third one here. For one, I just think that there's too much potential with the Lions losing. I don't see the Lions getting the number 1 seed, and the Niners have been struggling, and I don't think the Lions are going to be in that conversation for the 1 seed. Unfortunately, I would love to see them get it. But Cowboys are also now hungry again. They now see that they've gotten a couple losses, hard losses too. Well, I agree with the Bills game. They didn't look their best in that game. I think we're underestimating how consistent Dak Prescott in that receiving core has been. Tony Pollard has been suitable. I won't say he's been doing great, but he's been getting the first downs and all that. He's been good for the goal lines. And the defense, I think, is the one that's worried me. Start of the season, the defense was the reason the Cowboys were so good. The defense is kind of taking a step back. And with that said, too, I think it almost comes down to a defensive play because but I don't like the Lions secondary at all. The Lions secondary gets cooked every game, and it forces Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery to do all the work. It forces them to do so well. And don't get me wrong, they do well. Jared Goff throws for 250 plus, barely any interceptions. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs got two touchdown each last game. It's hard to say the Lions are not good because they're very good. But I think the Cowboys' offense is so high powered at the moment and so consistent. I think they're going to outscore the Lions here.
I honestly, like, going back to what Taylor was saying, I feel like it's either the Cowboys' offense plays good, their defense plays bad, or vice versa.
Fair. Fair.
And I think we're watching, with the last 2 weeks' losses, I think we're watching the at this point the annual Cowboys get into their playoff readiness by preparing to lose the game. I think that's what it is. I don't think the Cowboys make a deep run this year. I think they lose in the wild card more than likely, whoever they play, because they're the Cowboys and they always fail in the playoffs. So, but I do think this is going to be a great matchup, and I really think it can go either way.
For sure.
It's definitely going to be like Madden.
Yeah. The over-under is 53.5, so they think it is going to be one. So, but by the way, the Cowboys are -6 favorites in this game. Interestingly,
Wow,
-6. It is at Dallas. I don't know if that matters, but
Yeah,
I think it matters
a little bit.
more than people think in the NFL, but less than it does in college.
fair, valid. I respect that. Moving on to another probably game of the week type thing. Huge implications behind this one too. Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens. And Taylor, you get to take this one.
Of course, I have to start with this one. This, I mean, these are two teams I didn't even think were even gonna look great this year. I mean, I know in the offseason everyone's hyping up the Dolphins, but with those teams, we always see a downfall occur somehow. I mean, we saw it with the Broncos last year. Sorry. And I don't know what other team the year before that, but I think I'm going to have to give this to the Ravens. They looked amazing last week. 5 picks in the first half. That might have just been because Brock Purdy just had a bad game. But that defense and the offense looked amazing. And I think they're going to keep that rolling. So,
yeah, this is not an easy one either. I find this one significantly harder to predict than I feel more confident about the Cowboys winning than I do about either one of these teams winning. And you know what? The Baltimore Ravens are -3.5 favorites, and I'm gonna go on a limb and say this: that Cowboys Dolphins game impressed me from both those teams. And the reason why it impressed me, it wasn't the most impressive game in the world. It wasn't a bunch of stats. It wasn't a great defensive matchup. Those teams have been such high-powered offenses or defenses this whole season. It's either they've wiped a team because they did so good one way or the other. That game was a test of strength for both of them because they didn't have a great offensive or defensive showing. They had a good offensive and defensive showing, but neither team destroyed the other against two teams that are playoff-worthy teams. They actually were able to not just give the game away or take the game away. And that's more impressive to me because it shows that the teams are able to scheme around the whole game, not just we've got the first half done, let's just carry the second half, or vice versa. This game, I was very impressed, and that's why I'm going to choose the Miami Dolphins here, because I think that's why I saw from the Miami Dolphins to finally remember, like probably the last video that we recorded together, Treythan. I said the Miami Dolphins need to do something like that, and they didn't utilize Tyreek Hill as much as they could have. Jalen Waddle, they got only one catch. They actually used people that weren't just those two, and it worked for them. Finally something's clicking there where they're starting to use more and more of these pieces that aren't necessarily great, but they're distracted. While Tyreek Hill has somebody covered on him, they can finally chuck down for these 10, 12 yards that they've been getting. And I'm so impressed by that. I think that they're going to make this number 1 seed picture a lot more interesting with the Miami Dolphins picking up the victory.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Dawson. I think it's the Dolphins, but I think it's for a different reason. As we've seen, the Ravens have been a really high-powered offense, and last week we saw their defense shine as well. Tua has been low on interceptions this year, but that's not the reason I'm picking the Dolphins. Since Jalen Ramsey has came back in Week 9 from injury, the Dolphins are number one for interceptions, number one for yards per attempt on defense. They're second in yards per game, I think, or second for points per game, and third in I think yards per game, something like that. It's something along those lines. And I think that Dolphins defense has really stepped up because as we saw in the beginning of the season, they weren't beating teams who were above 500. They weren't beating those good teams. Now that their defense has showed up and they're not just this high-powered offense anymore, I think they're a more complete team, and that's why I'm going with the Dolphins.
Interesting. Got a bunch of different perspectives for that game, which I enjoy.
Something funny from the Cowboys-Dolphins game, I saw where Tony Pollard had like an easy 1-yard touchdown, and he didn't score.
Yeah, that was a rough one too. I mean, the defensive line for the Dolphins.
Because I really needed him to get points because I was playing Dawson in the playoffs.
Didn't matter anyway, in the end.
Shut your mouth.
You can play for that. You can play for that third place spot. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Next up, by the way, I'm in 3 championships for fantasy this year. Just saying that for the camera here.
Okay.
Wow.
You want a cookie?
3 rings. I'm gonna buy 3 rings once
You're not beating Stu.
He wants a cookie.
I have a 9-point advantage on him. I'll be okay. You know what? Fuck it. You know what, guys? They're on screen now. That's me versus Shu. Who do you think's gonna win? Who has the better team? I get a 5-point advantage for being the higher seed, so I'm gonna win based on that. No,
that's the only reason you won our game.
Boy, I bet you last 22 or something like that.
Yeah, that's still the only reason you won. You got home field advantage.
I at least don't have to do our punishment this year, so I'm insanely happy.
Dude, we need to record that punishment for the video. You know what? We're gonna record it.
What we need to record is the absolute fall off of Henry Ruggs' legal team. I was 6-2 through the first 8 weeks, and I ended the season 7-7, having 5 losses in a row.
Somehow still 4 seed.
How did that happen?
Or something.
Yeah,
like
I went from 1st seed to 4th seed.
I don't want to hear it. I had an amazing team this entire year, and I got shafted week in and week out.
Womp womp.
You know what? I find this talk way more interesting than this next game of the New England Patriots going to the Bills in a divisional matchup. So I'm gonna make it simple. Fuck the Patriots for many reasons, but especially this week. Bills by 22.
Ooh.
Give me the Patriots. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Bills. They've looked pretty decent these past few weeks, especially with that win against the Cowboys. So yeah, I mean, like Dawson, there's not much to say here. I'm going with the Bills.
I'm gonna just keep the train going. Bills. I mean, the Patriots, they just suck. I mean, there's not a better way to put it. They're not that great. I mean,
although they did have an impressive win.
Yeah, but I think this late in the season, they've been eliminated. I kind of believe they're just on that tanking train.
That's fair.
Where does Belichick go after the season? What's your opinions on it?
New England.
He goes to the Canadian Football League.
He stays in New England.
You think he stays in New England?
100%.
No.
100%.
I think he goes to the Chargers.
No, 100% staying in New England. I think everybody's blowing this out of proportion.
There's been talks of the Patriots sending a 1st-round pick to the Titans for Mike Vrabel.
Okay, this is not disrespecting Mike Vrabel.
Take that deal.
This is not disrespecting Mike Vrabel, but
that'd be awesome.
Why would the Patriots do that?
I missed that deal. I don't blame you. What? Damn good deal.
Why would the Patriots do that? Mike Vrabel's like a similar. I shouldn't say similar-minded, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. He's not much different. He's not out of the box. He's just a good coach. He's kind of like Belichick. He's just a good coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's. I don't know. That's another video.
I think his problem is with developing quarterbacks.
He's had one quarterback besides Tom Brady, though.
No. I'm not talking about Belichick. I'm talking about Vrabel. I think his problem. So if the Patriots do select a quarterback, which I fully expect them to in the draft,
Drake May, or Jaden Daniels,
likely. If Vrabel goes there, I think he'll have a hard time developing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
developing him.
Mm. Fair.
'Cause
Valid.
in my mind, he hasn't developed Will Levis the way he should because he just kind of. The thing I have against Vrabel right now is that it seems like he has favorites. You know, if that makes any sense right now.
Yeah, that can make sense.
He has started Tannehill multiple weeks when Will Levis probably should have played.
Listen, as a Titans fan, I was super disappointed about the Will Levis train. That we didn't get Hendon Hooker as like a Tennessee guy. And although we haven't seen Hooker play, who knows? He could be the next Tom Brady. I've actually like not been too disappointed with Will Levis. I thought I was gonna be, but I'm actually not, and so it's been a nice surprise.
No, I think Will Levis has been very suitable. I don't think you. I think you give him enough time. I mean, I think he's shown enough that he can develop. You just got to give him some time and see what he gets capable of. For a second round pick, that's not too bad of a pickup that they got. So,
Well,
I don't think it's that bad.
technically, it was a first round pick. He was the 32nd overall pick.
I mean, true, but like I don't know. For someone who was in the lead up to it was talking about going early in the first round. I think I think it was a good deal that Tennessee Titans got. I don't blame them for trading up. They didn't trade that much away for getting him. So
Now, speaking of draft picks, do y'all think Milton gets drafted? Or do you think he goes undrafted free agent to somebody?
I think he goes late.
I mean,
Honestly,
probably.
I see people looking at his arm strength like people were looking at Mahomes, but it's just his accuracy that's gonna drop him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not consistent.
It's I agree with that, and it's not even his deep ball accuracy. Like he's had some good deep balls. It's more of his medium accuracy or his short accuracy. Even he puts too much power on his short pass and he needs to take some off of it, or he's just throwing a little high or a little behind the receiver, and 15 to 20 yard passes down the middle of the field, and passes that a good quarterback should complete. But I still think he does go 6th, 7th round to a team.
Mm. No, fair. Yeah, no, I would say that. All right, but keep the train rolling so we don't make this video an hour long. Treythan, the Falcons at the Bears. What do you think?
I think the Bears win this. I really do. The Falcons have not looked good. Early on in the season, they were kind of surprising me, and then ever since then, it's really been downhill. I mean, all the teams in the NFC South, they're all mediocre, and it's crazy to say this, but the Baker Mayfield Tampa Bay Bucks, I do believe, are the best team in the AFC or the NFC South. And so I know the Bears haven't looked great either, but I'm feeling like this is a Bears win.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Treythan. The Bears, Justin Fields has looked decent the past couple weeks, I guess. The receivers aren't doing him anything. It's also the O-line. But like Treythan said, the Falcons are struggling. They've benched Ritter, started Heineke, benched Heineke, started Ritter, and it just seems going back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like the Bears got nothing to lose. Like they're not making the playoffs, obviously. They win. It doesn't hurt their draft stock because their number one pick is coming from Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So they got nothing to lose. Meanwhile, the Falcons, they're wanting that another top pick this year, and so I really do think the Bears pull this one out.
See, I'm very split about this one. I'll be honest with you. So I do have a team written down, but if I'm analyzing this, the Bears have played good defensive football, and the Falcons, who I usually clamored for their defense, has been playing a little bit more poorer on the defensive side of the ball. Their offense is still fine, I guess, and I'm saying only I guess because they're still getting decent yardage. Their run game, when they actually use it, is actually not too bad with Algier and Bijan both splitting the carries, but beside the point there. When they actually use Kyle Pitts, they can actually get really good end zone like conversions. And when they get to the red zone, they can actually really easily make that red zone conversion. It's frustrating to watch the Falcons because I feel like I hate the Falcons this season because they make me so frustrated. There's
so much talent.
They have so much potential, and obviously I don't think they have the potential to win the Super Bowl now or anything, but they have a young roster of good players that are just not being utilized. And I hate Arthur Smith right now for doing it. And that's why I'm going to choose the Bears here. I do have the Falcons written down that I thought they were going to win because they were going to be one of my upsets. But as I was thinking about it, as y'all were talking, I just can't. I just morally cannot pick the Falcons to win because I need Arthur Smith out of there. Because I want to like the Falcons so badly. And I like the Bears. I think there's a lot of potential with the Bears. I think you're right. They have nothing to lose. They actually have a slim, very slim shot to make the playoffs. Why not go for it? Justin Fields actually isn't doing horrible. Last week wasn't a great game, but they got something they can piece together. Maybe they can make something of their team before this offseason. Beside the point, I'll agree with y'all here with the Bears taking the win here.
Send Arthur Smith back to the Titans.
I didn't know you want to be bad for another 5 seasons.
Offensive coordinator, not head coach.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Good clarification there.
Sorry.
Next up, we got Tennessee Titans at the Texans. Taylor.
My Tennessee Titans. So much pain they give me. But I'm going to go Texans. CJ Stroud's playing, I think.
Yep.
The Titans are battered and bruised all to hell. Good Lord. It seems they cannot stay healthy. And I don't know. I know that Will Levis is playing in this game, and he's stated that they're going to go out there and play to win.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's going to happen. Genuinely do not think that's going to happen.
No, I fully agree with you here, Taylor. I think I don't watch many Titans games back all the way through, but when I do watch them, their offensive line is the worst offensive line in football. Is easily, and I thought y'all were kind of kidding, kind of going into the season that their O line was really bad. You know, y'all are not joking. It's so bad that teams that shouldn't be getting 6 sacks on them get 6 sacks on them, and it's not even Will Levis' fault. It's so piss poor to see. And this Texans defense is hungry, and they have bad games, they have good games, but against this O line, I can't see them having a bad game. Got to give me the Texans, especially C.J. Stroud coming back. I think he's going to not be great, but I think he's going to be good enough to kind of get back in the roll of things and kind of get things swinging again. So Texans at home here, especially since they're still playing for the playoffs.
Yeah. Peter Skoronski has looked like the best offensive player for the Titans this year, like on the O-line.
Fair.
Look, the Texans are fighting for a playoff spot, so this is a big game. So I don't know how go against them, except that I am. Tighten up, baby. The Titans get this win in NRG Stadium to show that, we still suck. I would like them to lose, obviously, because as we said earlier, they need that high draft pick. But I'm going with the Titans.
Man, all I'm waiting for this week is when the Titans play to get that weekly "fuck the Titans" text from Taylor in our group chat. I look forward to it every week during the game, whether they're winning or losing. He'll say "fuck the Titans" or something along the lines of "our Titans suck."
They just put me through so much pain, dude. God.
So I won't watch the game. I'll watch for Taylor's snap. Watch for that, and then check the score after that.
With all my sports teams, the Padres have expectations. We don't live up to them. The Titans have expectations. We don't live up to them. The Pelicans have expectations. We don't live up to them. At least I know that there's one team that I support that has won their championship 17 of the last 18 years. That's my soccer team, Bayern Munich. We're the biggest and best team in Germany. So, listen, if I've hurt by every other sports team, thank God I got Bayern Munich to be like, you know what? It's not all bad.
Oh my gosh, bless. Well, with that said, we're going to go to the best of both worlds for this call because both of our divisional opponents are facing off with the Raiders going to Indianapolis to face off against the Colts. Both looking very piss poor recently. Even with the Raiders winning, it was definitely not because of their offense, I'll tell you that. It was all because their defense, and the Chiefs are crybabies. That's the reason they won. And believe it or
Max Crosby looked like an absolute demon in that game.
Yeah, they really did. And that's why I'm inclined to pick the Raiders. But their offense is so bad. I don't know if y'all actually watched that game, but their offense is so bad. 62 yards is what Aiden O'Connell did that game. I mean, granted, he didn't have to do anything more than run the ball.
He fooled all of us during that Chargers game.
Honestly, dude. What, freaking Peyton Manning type numbers?
Yeah.
So I really cannot pick the Raiders here because, man, as much as I like their defense, their offense is just blows so much, and the Colts have some potential. I'm going Colts here. Call me crazy.
Call me crazy because I'm going Raiders. I don't like the Colts. Only time I've ever liked the Colts was when Peyton Manning was there, and I didn't even. I mean, I like the Colts, but I just love Peyton Manning. But I can't stand the Colts. The Colts should not have this much of a better record than the Titans. So I think I'm going Raiders here.
I'm gonna go Colts. I mean, they're fighting for that. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're even fighting just to be the number one in the division right now, because I believe it's a three-way tie as of right now.
Yep, it is.
Yes,
I think so.
It is a three-way tie between the Texans, Colts, and Jags.
It sure is.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly can't believe that, but I think the Colts are going to come out and they're going to fight for everything. They're going to leave it all out because they really want that playoff spot.
So this is something I just realized, and this is gonna come into importance later. The Ravens, if they win this game against the Dolphins, they don't have to do anything for Week 18. They don't have to care next week because they'll have the number one seed.
They can let the GOAT Tyler Huntley play, baby.
Yeah, honestly, and I didn't even realize that. That'll come up important later because of my reasoning. But I just thought about that when y'all said three-way tie for that stuff. Either way, we're gonna go to a game I don't want to talk about too much, but maybe y'all do. Rams at Giants. Treythan, what do you think?
Rams. There's no question about it. Rams have surprisingly played well. The season ends today. They're in the playoffs. I think they're going to keep that momentum. I think the Giants aren't good. We've seen that all season. Dawson, I meant to ask you, how's that bet with
Ben?
Yeah, with Ben going.
So the bet was 6. I would say they're going to be above 7-10. He said they're going to be below 7-10. So 7-10 is a push, but 6. So we're fighting right now. Giants have to win out for me to to push the bet. So if they win one game or neither of the games, I have to do a loser's bet of something. I think I have an idea that'll be kind of fun for a video, but we'll see.
24-hour Waffle House challenge.
No, fuck no. It's fucking Josh or Brennan's thing or whoever. Josh or Patrick. That'll be one of them to do that one. We'll record that one too, or they'll do WNBA one, whatever one. But yeah,
I don't think they're going to choose WNBA. If it were me, I would choose Waffle House.
What's the closest WNBA team to y'all?
No, we don't care.
Is it the St. Louis? St. Louis? Does this even have a W? I don't even know the WNBA teams. I think I know two of them. One because the Aces because they won back to back, and I know the Liberty because they have a girl that went to Oregon. That's literally the only reasons I know those two.
The closest one.
And Atlanta. I don't even know Atlanta's team. I think it's the Atlanta Dream or something.
Closest one is the Atlanta Dream.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's the game that I guess that person will go to, or they can fly off and go to fucking LA or something. I guess that's their choice. I don't care much. They can do whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's not me, so I don't care.
our loser.
Wait, I see it.
For our fantasy thing that we did, had to go to a WNBA game, but we took their phone and we'd drop them off there, and we'd set like a designated pickup spot, and the rest of us would go have fun in Atlanta, while the other person had to watch the WNBA game in the worst seat. Like they'd get the very tip top, and with no phone, so they can't play on their phone or anything.
That's fucked.
I mean, that's what we're gonna do that to them. We're gonna do that to them. They're not getting their phone. Fuck that. Fuck them.
Everybody else, hey, I drive down to Atlanta. We all party together, and then go back and pick them up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we all go to a bar. Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That'll be fun.
Go to a bar and not watch the WNBA game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh bless, man. Taylor, you got the Rams Giants now.
Honestly, I'm hoping the Giants win because it'll boost the Titans up.
And fuck Braden, of course.
Yeah. And I just don't see that happening. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rams. Unfortunately.
Yep.
They've just looked very lackluster. I mean, they looked decent when Tyrod Taylor took over, but yeah, nah, it ain't gonna happen.
I think them benching. I don't know what's up with teams benching QB. Like really, and I get DeVito didn't do amazing. I get that. They stop benching QBs that are younger and have potential. Like what the hell's happening this year? I get it. Ritter was an expected one because he's been off and on all season. I'm not going to judge that one too much. But like Zach Wilson thing, Tommy DeVito now. What the hell's happening with coaches not trusting these younger QBs because they have to develop them.
All it does is hurt their confidence.
Exactly. It frustrates me, and I'm rooting against the Giants now specifically for that reason. I think the Rams are a scary team. I think I don't know whatever seed they end up with. I don't think one of the top teams want to face them, whether you're the Lions, the 49ers, the Eagles. This is a team that can be one of the upsets of because there's always an upset in the first round, always. This is a team that could be that upset, and I don't think any of those teams want to see that team. So I think they're scary.
Do you think anybody else from the NFC North makes the playoffs?
You mean besides the 49ers, Rams? Or sorry, NFC North, you said. NFC
North. So besides
the Packers,
the Lions.
Vikings, Lions.
Maybe the Packers.
I think the Packers have a good shot.
Yeah,
I think the Packers.
I think all three teams still have a chance, I believe.
Yeah, they do. All four teams have a chance still. But
well, the Lions have already solidified.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Honestly, the best bet I see is the Packers making the playoffs.
Yeah, I just had it pulled up, but we just went over this in the video I made for the recap. I go over the current picture. It's currently the main people fighting for the wild card spot are the Rams, Seahawks, Vikings, Packers, Saints, and Falcons. I don't see the Falcons or Saints really pulling off. They're really fighting for divisional. The Seahawks and Rams are definitely going to make it. So it's that last spot really between the Seahawks, Vikings, and Packers for me. And the Seahawks they just have so much momentum lost at this point. They can maybe squeak themselves into it, but I think the Packers at least have some chance here. I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. But I think the Packers are probably my favorite for that 7th spot.
Oh, what a world we live in whenever the Patriots are looking at a top 4 draft pick. Though.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've had one of those. Either way, we can speed through these next couple of games because these are not very interesting games with high odds. 49ers at Commanders. I believe this is you, Taylor. Maybe off on it, but whatever.
I'm going to go Niners. I know they struggled against the Ravens, but the Commanders are by far not the Ravens at all. I feel like Brock Purdy's going to go into the film room, bust his ass, and realize, hey, I should not do that again. And then look great against the Commanders.
I mean, this is actually a Chase Young revenge game, by the way, funny enough. The defense of the 49ers is so scary, and that's what really kept the 49ers even relevant in the game against the Ravens. Now, with that said, I know people, and luckily I haven't seen this too much online. It seems like it's kind of just been under the rug about Brock Purdy's performance. Some people are laughing and saying, oh my gosh, abysmal performance. But, everybody has a bad game, for one. Yeah, sure, this was a not great game, but I saw a statistic online. Tom Brady's first starting season, he threw a game for 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. And he did that 2 years later. So it happens. 2 of the picks weren't his fault. One of them was like half and half, and one of them was straight his fault. It's hard to judge him, especially against a good defense like that. I'm glad we can push that under the rug, call it even, and let him move forward. 49ers are still one of the best teams in the NFL. I'm not going to question them too much, 49ers.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Brock Purdy was the MVP frontrunner before that game.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's got a shot, depending on how he plays these next 2 games. So I think I got to go with the 49ers. Like you said, Chase Young, revenge game. He's obviously going to be wanting to hit Sam Howell. So
he's
yeah,
he's going to want 3 or 4 sacks.
Oh yeah. It's just like the A.J. Brown revenge game against the Titans.
He went off.
He popped off. I think Chase Young is going to do the same. I think he's going to have 2-3 sacks, several QB pressures, a couple QB hits.
It's going to be fun to watch, certainly, because Commanders have just not been very good. Next up, Panthers at Jags. I'm not going to say too much with it, but I will say the Jags are kind of losing a lot of momentum, or to the point they could lose their AFC South divisional spot. That'd be very unfortunate for them, considering how well they started the season. Not started off the season. I guess how good of a team they really have there. They just can't click anything together. If they can't beat the Panthers, they don't deserve the spot. So that's my reasoning. I'm going Jaguars here. Panthers are easily the worst team. They had a great week last week, almost won against the Packers. Really would have been a great upset. I think I give the Jaguars a little bit more credit now that they're forced to use Calvin Ridley more and Evan Ingram without Christian Kirk. I think they look good on that offense. Defense can be spotty, but it's fine. Panthers should be an easy time for them.
I agree. There's nothing much to be said, but I agree with everything you just said. Jacksonville, if that was the question.
Jaguars. Yeah. There's not much that can be said about this game that hasn't already been said.
Perfect. Probably the last of the really bad, not really bad, but like more one-sided games for the most part. Cardinals at Eagles. Be you, Treythan.
I mean, again, this isn't much of a question. Now the Eagles have looked a little sloppy recently. Jalen Hurts has been struggling, but I mean, it's the Cardinals, so not expecting much of resistance here. I think this is a good chance for Jalen Hurts and the whole Eagles team to get back into the rhythm of winning games. This is kind of like a big team, like an SEC team, like Alabama this year played Chattanooga in one of the last weeks of the season. This is the confidence booster. I think that's what this needs to be for the Eagles, and so I'm going Eagles.
Treythan just hit the nail on the coffin right there with what I was just about to say. I'm going to go Eagles. It's a confidence booster game.
I agree. I like how the Cardinals have been looking. I think there's a lot to build off of that for the offseason. Defense needs a lot of work, but I think the Eagles are still, as much people have been shitting on them, still a great team. Y'all said the rest of it. Eagles all the way. Saints at Bucks, a divisional matchup that has a lot of implications. Taylor, you get to start us off on this one.
I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about it throughout this video. Baker Mayfield, damn, he's looked good. He's looked real good this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's had his ups and downs. Yeah, that's the NFL. You're gonna have your ups and downs throughout the season, but him compared to Derek Carr looks like the better quarterback. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. They just seem to have the better team, and I think they have the better chance of getting that divisional game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree. I think Saints are fine. They're mediocre, whatever. They exist. They can win. I'm not gonna say they can't, but the Bucks just look better. I think they're just more primed. I think their O-line is low-key one of the better ones in the NFL. I think Baker Mayfield's finally on a train right now, where maybe he's okay and good. I don't think they can beat the top 14-ish teams. I think they're an easy first-round knockout for whoever plays them, possibly. Either way, I think they're a good team for the team they're facing. I'll go Bucks here.
Both of you guys said it perfectly. Like I said earlier, Baker Mayfield has shocked the world. I mean, when we started the season, I still remember our preseason predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I had the two worst teams being the Cardinals and the Bucks. I had them each at, I believe, 3-14. Maybe I had the Bucks at 4-13. But either way, the Bucks have definitely been, other than I would say the Lions have been the holy crap, this team isn't terrible like everybody thought. I mean, no one thought the Lions were going to be terrible, but no one thought they'd be doing as good as they are doing. But yeah, I'm going Bucks all day. I think Derek Carr is like another Russell Wilson. Last year, obviously, he didn't do great, but he's at least been a consistent quarterback. When he was at the Raiders, same thing Russell Wilson was, except Russell Wilson was, I would say next level compared to Carr. But Derek Carr's not been the answer in New Orleans. So I'm going Bucks.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. Next one up, and this is the fun one. I'm glad I get to start this one with the Steelers at the Seahawks, and I really like this game because these are two teams I don't think very highly of for their playoff chances. I think they're weird 8 or 9-ish team. But now that the Ravens, if they win this game, I don't think they will. I think they'll win. I think the Dolphins will win. But now it adds a complication because I think that there's some black magic goo. The Steelers face the Seahawks and then the Ravens in that order. They're going to win one of these games. There's no doubt, but they're only going to win one. They're not going to win both. That's the thing. It's the black magic goo going on right now for the Steelers. I thought they were going to win this against Seahawks because obviously they wouldn't beat the Ravens normally. But now, is this all in Mike Tomlin's head where actually the narrative is being spun that the Ravens are going to win and the Ravens are going to win and then they're going to throw the game against the Steelers? It's so mind-boggling. I almost feel like I should change it to that narrative of Ravens winning and also the Steelers losing this week because I was going to pick Steelers winning in that. I'm going to go with the new narrative, and I'm going to rechange my pick from the Dolphins winning to the Ravens winning. Not necessarily because I necessarily think that. I believe in Mike Tomlin blood magic. I genuinely do. I just don't see it not happening. And they throw away random games like this. They had no reason to beat the Bengals for the momentum the Bengals had, but I just knew they would, and they beat them by a long shot. Somehow, some way, they're going to get 9-8. No fucking way how. I'm going to rewrite the narrative, go Ravens as my previous pick, and rechange that, and go Seahawks this week.
I don't know what hocus pocus bullshit rant you just went on.
Yeah.
I got Steelers. Staying with the Dolphins, and I got Steelers.
I'm going to go Steelers because the Seahawks, they struggled against the Titans. They struggled against the Titans' defense. The Titans' defense. The Steelers, by far, are not the Titans' defense. I honestly believe the Steelers are going to win this game.
Okay. Maybe I will change my thing back to the Dolphins and the Steelers. I will go Dolphins Steelers. That's y'all made some good points there. I'm going to change my answer.
Oh my
Blood magic or not, Steelers will win a game.
We went on this long, epic rant of. I mean, it was like the Odyssey, like this black magic rant, and then
I killed it.
For me and you just to disagree with him. He's like, "Nah, I want to change it back."
And then the second I start talking about this, I just instantly kill what he said.
Hey, in fairness, both y'all did. I don't know. I just don't be surprised if it happens. But maybe I shouldn't base all my thing on a random superstition. I do think the Dolphins are a better team.
Maybe you shouldn't base your stuff on what other people say. Maybe you should be your own man, Dawson.
This is true. I'm 2 points behind Shu, so I need to listen to people that aren't just me because apparently I suck sometimes. Yeah, I will go Steelers. I think you're right. I think they are a better team. In reality, I do think the Steelers are just, even though their offense struggles at times, but they have Mason, the what's called the red-nosed Rudolph or whatever. Christmas Miracle, by the way, I thought that was really funny that they put Mason Rudolph in for the Christmas time games, whatever. Steelers' run game, though, I think is very good. And while the Seahawks' run defense is not very good at all, I think you alluded to that, Taylor.
Yeah,
I
mean, Derek Carr had one of the best games of this year last week against the Seahawks,
and we still didn't freaking win.
He threw a touchdown pass, and we still didn't win.
I forget how.
I think in every game he's ever thrown a touchdown pass, we've won.
Yeah. Funny stat. Derrick Henry is tied on the year on touchdown passes with Ryan Tannehill.
That's a cool stat. Next up,
Is it
Bengals at Chiefs, Treythan.
Oh, this is gonna be weird.
The Chiefs have looked like crap. The Bengals Chiefs rivalry recently has been fantastic. Same thing with the Chiefs and Bills. But this ain't Joe Shiesty playing. Now, I know he started off the season rough, and now he's through an injury, so obviously he's out for the rest of the season. But if this was Joe Shiesty saying, as you remember my preseason prediction, I had him winning the MVP, Bengals winning the Super Bowl, Jamar and OPOY. Obviously, that has been completely shafted. My Bengals dream team has been shattered. So I got to go Chiefs, but I think this is a much closer game than it ever should be.
I agree with Treythan. If Jake Browning was not playing, I feel like the Bengals would win. I know the Chiefs have struggled a lot. Now, don't get me wrong; they're probably going to struggle. They have looked awful. They looked awful last week. But the Raiders' defense is a little bit better than the Bengals' defense, honestly. And so I feel like they turn it around this week. They get this win. They might make the playoffs.
They do make the playoffs if they win this week. I will say that. They have to lose both games, and the Raiders,
Okay.
Broncos
Well,
have to win one of the games this week, and then they play each other for the playoff spot.
okay. Well, then they make the playoffs then, because I think they're going to win this week.
Fun fact though, if the Chiefs do I think the fun fact is there's a very small, if they lose both their games, I think there's a very small chance that the Chiefs even make the playoffs because the Raiders and Broncos will be playing for the division in Week 18 if they both win. But I think they don't get the wild card from some shenanigans too, so it's kind of weird. That's not the point.
I would love to see it because I can't stand that crybaby Mahomes.
I will say I lost a lot of respect recently for Mahomes. I thought highly of him more before, but ever since this whole tirade of, the downhill spiral of the Chiefs, I've
It's the Taylor Swift curse.
Forget the Madden curse. We're on the T Swift curse.
Yeah.
Maybe this is Patrick Mahomes' Madden curse. I mean, he was on Madden for 2 years,
Yeah.
and he still hasn't had his curse. Maybe this is it.
this little
The
delay.
Madden curse is not something to be messed with.
It's certainly not.
You want to talk about black magic? Don't talk about Mike Tomlin. Talk about the Madden curse.
Yeah.
Well, Madden curse or not, Chiefs are going to take this victory. I mean, again, they have not been very impressive, but they have nothing to lose, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of what they're so far down right now. It almost feels like they really have nothing to lose, so they just should go out, balls to the walls, and just fucking play. Go for it. Their defense is carrying their asses. Let their offense start doing some work. You got Chargers at Broncos. Taylor, you get to start this one.
So glad I get to start this one. It's going to be awesome.
Go ahead and say fuck Broncos. Go ahead. Say it. Fuck. Go ahead. Do it.
No, I actually not. So, as we all know, Jared Stidham is starting this game. It's against the Chargers. There's got, who's starting now? Easton Stick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Broncos. And another thing, I'm saying Jared Stidham throws for 2 or more TDs.
You putting that on your parlay?
I'm putting on my parlay right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's actually see the
Dawson.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm going Broncos. It's completely biased pick. It's backup versus backup, so who fucking knows?
Dawson picking the Broncos?
Who would have thought?
I would never have expected that.
Who would have thought? Completely biased pick. I don't really care if they win or lose, to be honest with you. Defense is fine. It's backup at QB. Our receivers are mid at best. Our run game is struggling. Jaleel McLaughlin's the only one that looks alive. But guess who looks almost more dead than us? Our fucking divisional counterparts in the Chargers. So let's bang them in the dirt a little bit. Let's at least make ourselves feel a little good. Go positive for once in our lives and call it a day.
I'm going Broncos as well.
Next question.
Fair enough. I was looking up the Jared Stidham line for TDs, but I'll look that up in a second. Green Bay Packers at Vikings. I'll keep it very.
We only got what? Two more games left.
This is it. Green Bay Packers at Vikings. I'll keep it simple. I'm going Packers. I think if there's going to be a 7th seed team, it's going to be the Packers. They look good. Nick Mullins sure threw for 400 yards, but guess who also threw for 4 picks this week, and no one really realizes it? Nick Mullins. This team, the Vikings are, I know that 400 yards was so good, and they have such good receivers. KJ Osborne looks like he was alive last week. Jordan Addison's good, of course, and Justin Jefferson's a god, so who knows. But, man, I can't see them winning this game. Packers' defense has been pretty dang good. Now, granted, I just read very briefly. I didn't read much into it, but Jair Alexander's suspended or something, or...
Yeah, he got suspended for, I don't remember what it was. It was something really stupid.
Yeah, I just literally read it right before the video, right before we started the session. So he's out. So it does make me a little bit more nervous now I think about it, but I still think the Packers are a more complete team. I think Justin Jefferson kind of carries that offensive receiving core. Nick Mullins, if he doesn't turn the ball over, could win this, but I just don't. I'm not very passionate about the Vikings right now, so Packers.
I think that the Vikings QB gets hurt, and the
Pasternak comes back in and plays another fantastic game. I wish Josh Dobbs would have been able to succeed at the Vikings. But even with that being said, I can't stand Green Bay. I'm not a big Jordan Love guy. I'm going the Vikings. At this point, I just got to be different in order to catch up in the polls. I gotta hedge my bets, and so I'm hedging my bets with the Vikings.
I'm gonna go Packers here. We talked about it earlier in this video. If there are two teams from the NFC North that are gonna make it, it's gonna be the Lions and the Packers. The Vikings have struggled. Don't get me wrong. Honestly, in my opinion, they should have let Josh Dobbs keep playing. That they should have left him as the starter. We talked about it earlier. Why are all these quarterbacks getting taken out after one bad game? It makes no sense at all. If Josh Dobbs was playing in this game, they probably would have won, or they probably will win. But I don't see that happening, so I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Yep, that was I forgot about Josh Dobbs getting benched earlier this season. It's just what the heck's happening. But for the sake of keeping this video under an hour, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys for tuning in for a little bit longer form video, but we like these kind of videos because we all get to talk and actually hang out and be friends and competitive and also talk about football. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like down below, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. StraightA Dawson and Rest out.